All right, reportedly, Michigan has added a Beat Georgia segment to their practices. This is something that they do for Ohio State. And this has been reported now from national folks, some national folks. I want to say this. Look, I don't think this is the end of the world. I don't think this is like a totally like a lot of Georgia folks are gonna be like, oh, But I think if you're a coach, you gotta motivate however you can. I just personally, I've never been a big, beat the other team kind of guy. And the reason why is that you're taking your focus off of where it should be, which is trying to be the best you that you are. I think Kirby, you know, got it exactly right. Here's what he said about beating the other team. He said, "We're not practicing to beat somebody. We're practicing to beat everybody." And I think if you're Michigan, I mean, there's no certainty you're going to play Georgia in 2023 or 4 or 6. There's no certainty that these teams are going to play. And that Georgia whipped their ass pretty good the last time, and that Georgia's won the last 2 national championships. I think that's, there's nothing wrong with being aspirational. There's just not. But is this like, what about Penn State? Are you worried about Michigan State? I mean, you're playing them, and you have a beat Georgia thing going on. Maybe people did this with Alabama, and I kind of forgot about it. I know. Like I don't know if coaches did this. I know that fans did this a lot, which was, they would say we want Bama and all this stuff, which okay, but if you're Clemson or you're Oklahoma or you're Florida State, I mean, you should be worried about who you're playing and who you're playing for sure. Because you're not going to, quote, beat Georgia if you don't play them because you're going to the Outback Bowl, And there's a couple of things, too, though, is it does show how high up Georgia's gotten in the realm of college football. It's one thing to win the national championships and to say they're the best program, but when arguably the second best program over the last 2 years is now saying, oh, well, we want to beat them. Like this is a thing during practice. That says something. Pick up our 2023 preview. Doesn't have anything about Michigan in it. When you pick up Double Dogs today, you're going to get the 2023 preview. It's included down below. Dog Instruction, yeah, we had a whole section. We had a whole section on Michigan because they played Michigan. And, that night I thought Georgia would win the game. I wasn't sure. If you go back and watch that game, I mean, that game, it wound up a blowout 34-11. That game wasn't as much of a blowout as it seemed. Michigan is good. And, I mean, what they're doing to Ohio State, I do have some Keely Ringo ones left that are signed. These are signed by Keely Ringo. I do have some of these left. I should mention that more often because I have some of those. But that was a relatively, that wasn't just, Georgia just, by the half, we knew the game was over. But, Michigan played a little closer than people, I think, realize. And that game was not, Georgia just came in and smashed them to death. It became that now. It did become that. But, Michigan had a shot to score. I want to go through this real quick because, and that's why that's the other thing. It seems to me when you do these beat, whoever on the team level, not fans or you're selling buttons and stuff like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when the team itself is so invested in, we got to beat this one team. Well, Ohio State did not beat Michigan. That did not preclude them from winning the national championship. Also, where the hell is the beat TCU segment of practice for Michigan? That's what I want to know as well. When you look at the drive chart, okay, so Michigan, Georgia comes down and scores a touchdown right away. Michigan goes for it at the Georgia 41. They were driving the ball, and they did not convert. Next drive, Georgia goes up, touchdown. Next drive for Michigan, they get 3 yards, and punt it. Georgia goes field goal, field goal, field goal. Well, Georgia goes back-to-back field goals, and essentially the game is over. I mean, Michigan doesn't score until I think it was the fourth quarter. So late, yeah, the last drive of the game, they scored and went for two, if you remember. But it got away from them quick. Now they moved the ball a little bit. They had two drives of almost 90 yards total, and they scored 3 points on those drives. The rest of the drives were 3-and-outs or turnovers. We had a turnover to go into the half. They had a turnover coming out of that half. I mean, just they had 1, 2, 3. They had 3 turnover drives in a row drives ended with turnovers in a row, Michigan. And I mean, that's what hurt them against TCU, if you recall, beat TCU. So I don't want it to be that this is something where I'm coming on here just killing Jim Harbaugh. He has done an excellent job at Michigan. This guy has been, these last 2 years have been excellent jobs that he's done. He's done it amazing. They just haven't won a college football playoff game. They've won the league. They've lost one game in regular season in 2 years. They're 21-2. They own Ohio State right now. But I would not worry about Georgia. Because to some degree, it's already too late for the 23 season. You've got your team, you've got your program, do they see weakness with Georgia? I mean, maybe they do. Maybe there's stuff they see. But, the other thing about this that to me is a little bit, why are we doing this right now? What do you benefit by this becoming public in any way? I mean, Penn State, which is a good program, not a great program, they're going to be totally out for blood. Michigan State in particular is going to, which is the only team that's beaten Michigan in the regular season the last 2 years. And I think they thumped them. I can't remember every single game that Michigan plays because I don't watch, Michigan every week. I catch them. They are a really good team again, but yeah, Michigan State, I didn't thump them. They beat them, 37-33. That was Georgia, Florida in 2021. So I think this is not a challenging schedule for Michigan until the close. And then it becomes a little bit challenging with, the close of the season. Why can't this thing just give me the damn schedule right away? Is this so hard? Yeah, they go East Carolina, UNLV, Bowling Green. That UNLV game is going to be on CBS. God bless CBS, man. They made a huge mistake letting the SEC get out of there. Then they go Rutgers, at Michigan, at Nebraska, at Minnesota. These are not good teams. Indiana, at Michigan State, who might not be a good team either. But, they got to go to Michigan State. They play Purdue after an off week. And then they go to Penn State. They go to Maryland. And they go to Ohio State. They can lose a few games, maybe a couple at the end of the season, and there's nothing to talk about with the Georgia thing. Georgia might not even be there, by the way. It might just be that, the premier teams this year are, Oklahoma. I'm just kidding. That was a total joke. It might be that, when you get to the playoff, it's Alabama and LSU, or, whoever. Miami, another joke, right? I don't know. But I think that as a person who we never focused on any one team. Now, our league was relatively balanced at the top. And right now, college football is not balanced. But to put Georgia and Ohio State in the same category, they're not in the same category. I mean, Ohio State is a blood rival. They are one of the best teams in college football. Georgia is the best team in college football. But they have nothing to do with Michigan. I mean, when does it beat TCU segment? If you don't win the games that you need to win, all this other stuff's irrelevant. Jim Harbaugh is a great coach. This guy might be, just in terms of football coach over the last 15 years, there's not many people that's been better than him. just generally speaking. I mean, he's got gone to a Super Bowl. He's gone to 2 college football playoff appearances. Won that conference twice. He's a very good coach. But really good coaches, Kirby included, they make mistakes. They say dumb stuff sometimes. They do dumb things. They are not perfect. But the beat Georgia period, I mean, I don't know. It's not for me. Tell me what you think.